We've learned that ADHD is a lifelong condition, but how we experience it changes as we grow. Big hormonal shifts, like the kind that happen during puberty and pregnancy or perimenopause, can be extra challenging. But the more we understand about how ADHD affects women across the lifespan, the more we're able to manage it. The symptoms of ADHD when you're a little girl in elementary school can be easy to miss and easy to misunderstand. You may have a daughter who seems very, very sensitive, very easily upset, seems to be exhausted when she gets home from school, and that's because she's been trying to hold it together all day at school. I remember working with one little girl who said, I know when to listen to the teacher because she raises her voice and then I look at her. She was trying so hard not to get in trouble for not paying attention. And it's just so important for parents to understand that this isn't from lack of trying. This is from struggling with executive functioning issues as a child. And there are lots of things that we parents can do to help our little girls with ADHD. So we may not see any academic problems in our daughters as they're going through elementary school. Because she's making all A's doesn't mean she doesn't have ADHD. We need to look at those emotional regulation issues, getting more upset than it seems like it's reasonable, and those executive functioning issues of I forgot, or I didn't know what time it was. There are lots of things that we can help our daughters learn to make their lives more livable. I'm a huge fan of what I call collaborative problem solving. And that is to just have an attitude with your daughter of, we're going to figure this out. You keep losing your house key, so maybe we need to put it on you in a way that you can't possibly lose it. And we moms need ways to calm down too. I remember teaching my daughter when she was tiny that mommy needs some quiet time. And that was really training her from a very early age. We all need a break. We all need to learn to calm down. One of the things that I really try to talk to parents about is creating what I call a calm down corner. And I've found girls really love it, and they can start decorating their calm down corner, just a place where if I'm feeling like I'm about to lose it, I can go there and I have my favorite pillows, my favorite stuffed animals, my favorite music or toys or whatever is going to make me feel safe and calm. And that's absolutely the opposite of go to your room, you're behaving inappropriately. It's, do you need to go to your calm down corner so you can feel better? And then these little girls, often who've done really quite well in elementary school, so nobody thinks a thing is wrong, hit puberty. And that is the time when little girls are most likely to get diagnosed. Why? Because our hormones start fluctuating when we hit puberty. Then it's much harder for us to pay attention, and it is much more likely that we're going to feel anxious and depressed. So that's what we call PMS in girls that don't have ADHD. But when you're a girl with ADHD, then it's even harder, because that's the time when you can't remember, you get flustered, you can't pay attention, and everything starts to feel overwhelming. Girls, and women for that matter, with ADHD are more likely to have severe symptoms during their premenstrual week. And we call that PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which just means that we get so darn depressed that it has a diagnostic name now. And it has to do with the dopamine receptors, the serotonin receptors in our brains are less sensitive when our hormones are lower. And suddenly everything comes back online when our hormone levels rise. One thing that I think is so important for parents and daughters with ADHD to do is to track periods. It's really helpful to know that I'm feeling terrible, I'm getting upset at so many things, but this is the week before my period. Maybe if I can just hang on by my fingernails, I can make it and I'll feel better next week. It really helps to know that. Fluctuating estrogen levels have a huge impact on ADHD symptoms. Why? Because estrogen impacts the sensitivity of dopamine receptors in the brain, as well as serotonin receptors. Serotonin has to do with mood, dopamine has to do with attention. And when our receptors are less sensitive because our estrogen levels are down, that's our premenstrual week. For many girls, all of a sudden they just can't cope anymore. They could manage in elementary school, then they hit puberty, and the timing couldn't be worse because not only have they hit puberty, they have hit middle school, which is very challenging for almost all girls. So this is a very, very common time for a girl to be diagnosed with ADHD. She's run out of cope. She's got more challenges because of the fluctuating hormones. We parents need to be very understanding and supportive. Unfortunately, some parents that don't know about the double whammy of increase in demands and decrease in ability to cope might blame their daughters of saying, "What's wrong with you? You've always been such a good student, and here you are making B's and C's instead of A's in school." And we parents need to know what's wrong and to help them understand what's going on and to support them. So all of this sensitivity and fluctuation and ADHD makes our middle school and our high school years so much more challenging to navigate. Feel like you're learning a lot from this video? Then hit subscribe and head on over to our channel. You'll find tons of content on learning and thinking differences, everything from ADHD and dyslexia to parenting and relationships.